Okay, so a lot of this has to do with the type of wood that you use. So if you want it to feel a little more modern, choose a wood that doesn't have as strong of a grain, and also doesn't have as many knots in it, because in a lot of ways you attribute the look of the knots to a more rustic farmhouse look. So, for example, Douglas fir, that kind of wood has a lot of wood grain, a lot of knots in it, a lot of movement in the grain. So it will feel a little bit more rustic. If you chose a wood like walnut or white oak, especially rift sawn white oak, where the grain is almost perfectly straight, and it's the way that the boards are cut, then that is automatically kind of a more, it's attributed to a more modern look. Another thing is just in the way that you finish it. So if you, let's just kind of continue with the white oak. So if you took the white oak, you got rift sawn, so that, and rift is R-I-F-T. If you get rift sawn and the grains are straight, and you sand it to a smooth finish, you make sure that all of your edges are 90 degrees, there's not like a live edge somewhere. That is a very contemporary look, or a very modern look. It tends to be that lighter wood stains are, more modern versus like kind of the darker stains. If you're going for a more mid-century look, then a walnut with a walnut stain or a natural stain would be appropriate, and it also feels pretty modern. So there's lots of ways to accomplish it. Another thing is the hardware that you use. So I feel like in a lot of farmhouse style homes or rustic homes, the bracket is visible. So whatever you're using to prop the shelf up. If you want it to feel more modern, then do a invisible bracket. So one that attaches from the back, and usually there's pins that go through the shelf, and then the shelf slides onto the pins, so that once the shelf is on and everything is secure, the hardware is completely invisible. Hope this helps. Hi, Katie. So this is an interesting question. My first question is, if you are going to paint the bottom third of your walls this cream or off-white color, are you literally just gonna start at the baseboard and paint up to a certain height and then tape it off and paint the next part gray? Are you doing a chair rail detail? Like, what are you doing to separate this bottom third from the upper 2/3? Because I think that that's really important. So if you are planning on, doing some type of wainscoting around the bottom third, for example, and then painting that off white, and then above it going gray, and then doing the ceiling, then that is a look, and architecturally it feels relevant to the style of home that you have. So I'm not opposed to it, but it will definitely give your dining room a mood. And if that's what you're going for, then yes, by all means, paint your ceilings gray and paint your walls gray and do the bottom part an off-white cream color. What you're doing when you paint your ceiling gray is you are essentially defining where your walls max out and where your ceiling is. So it very clearly makes the height of your walls stop. And that's kind of why you get the illusion of my room is smaller. And it's because light is no longer bouncing off your ceiling. So the color white, it bounces light. It's why when people paint homes all white, everything feels very bright and open and airy, and everything kind of like flows to the next. And it's because of how light bounces off of that color. Gray absorbs light. So you are stopping the light right where your ceiling is. So if that's what you want, what it does, just kind of from a emotional, I guess, perspective, is it will make the room feel cozy. It'll make it feel intimate, a little bit warmer, and just a little more, I don't know, romantic, I guess, in a way. So if that's what you're going for, do it. I would encourage you to add crown molding if that's the case. Again, match your trim work for the crown molding so that it all feels cohesive and not like it's an add-on later. But I just think there should be some kind of definition where your ceilings stop and then, where your walls stop and then where your ceilings begin. Now, if you are not trying to accomplish this smaller, cozier, more intimate feeling, then keep your ceiling white. Go ahead and paint your upper 2/3 gray, because I think it's a pretty color and it looks appropriate in your room. And rather than painting it gray just because you feel like it's boring or plain, consider adding like actual woodwork to your ceiling. So there's lots of trim details you can add, bring wood all the way into the center, create a pattern. And that way you're keeping the white, you're also adding visual interest, you're making the dining room feel a little more interesting, a little more formal with this type of woodwork. And I think it would probably accomplish what you're actually trying to do, which is just to make it feel a little more dressed up. And I would also say I can't tell if you have windows. I assume you do just based on the way that the lighting looks in there. Put window treatments up. So there's a lot of things that you can do to dress up the room and make it feel tied together, buttoned up and formal for a dining room without painting your ceiling the same color as your walls. While it does add drama, it's not necessarily always the best way to go. Hope this helps. So this question is from an old high school friend of mine, Mike. Mike, I have no idea what you are asking me. So feel free to send me a message. Use more words, maybe send a picture so that I know what you mean. I don't know why you would build a garage off of a master bedroom and why there's an ensuite in the laundry. Is the ensuite for your laundry machine? I just don't understand. So send me a message, use complete sentences, send me some pictures, and I would be happy to help. All right, last question. This is from my friend Ricardo. So I would say it depends on who the client is. So if the client is older, and let's just say this is gonna be their forever home, I would say do carpet because it's just a safer bet. So, they're moving around on the daily, they're going up and down this step. If they happen to be wearing socks, it's less of a slip hazard. Aesthetically, if it were me, I would want to do wood. I think it's prettier, and I feel like the step is still part of the higher level, and it's not until you get to a flat plane that it becomes a new elevation that gets its own flooring. So aesthetically, if it's a younger couple and aesthetics are kind of the driving force, I would say wood. If it's an older couple and function matters, then I would do carpet. All right, that's all I have time for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And just as a reminder, if you haven't already, don't forget to download my free PDF guide on 6 ways to update your bathroom without doing a full gut renovation. So you do not need to break tile, move plumbing fixtures, break walls, or anything like that, and it will still make a very impactful difference. All right, thanks.